Hey guys, and today we are going to be doing a complete in-depth review of the newly refreshed 2019 Kia Sorento. With the Sorento nameplate holding the title of being Kia's second best-selling crossover SUV in America, right behind their beloved subcompact utility vehicle, the Kia Soul, Kia knew that if they wanted to continue outselling competing SUVs and consequently keep up the pace with other newly introduced and recently refreshed three-row crossovers, they had to give the Sorento an update that would keep all the aspects that buyers have come to love about the Sorento, while tweaking the aspects that didn't necessarily abode so well with consumers. As a result, Kia has decided to introduce the vehicle I am sitting in currently, the newly refreshed 2019 Kia Sorento. But the question is this subtle yet noticeable mid-cycle refresh enough to still classify Kia Sorento as a solid entry in the very crowded and rapidly improving SUV segment? Well, let's find out. Now before I get this review rolling, I would like to thank Rickcase Kia in Sunrise, Florida for allowing me to review this vehicle for you guys. If you are interested in purchasing a brand new Kia and live in the South Florida area, don't hesitate to check them out. They will get you into the perfect Kia in no time. And remember that all of Drive and Be Driven's reviews are 100% honest and 0% biased. So let's get started. Alright, here it is, the 2019 Kia Sorento. So for 2019, the Kia Sorento did get a mid-cycle refresh, and along with this refresh comes an updated interior design, as well as a mildly tweaked exterior design. Furthermore, the 2019 Sorento will also feature slightly different optioning for safety technology, as well as a minor alter to the overall engine options available for 2019. Not to mention, the Sorento is also going to get slightly different available seating arrangements for the 2019 model year as well. But we are going to talk about all of those differences, plus many more, throughout this review. Alright, so now let's talk about the exterior styling of the 2019 Kia Sorento. So looking at the front fascia here, it is going to have a slightly revised front fascia over pre-refresh models. For 2019, it is going to have a more prominent front bumper. Most prominently, it is going to be noticeable right underneath your grille. It is going to have a lot more of a bold and in-your-face type of styling down here. It is going to bulge out from the front just a little bit more. And if you come over here near your fog light area, it is going to have a lot more of a bold and strong character line accent all over the place. You're going to have this strong character line running all the way up here, running down the side of the vehicle. You're also going to have another character line right down here and merging into your fog lights. And this is going to be indented quite a bit as well. All in all, giving the front fascia of the Sorento a very masculine, athletic, angular, and premium look to it. Now, as far as colors go, if you go for that base L trim level, you are going to have a total of 3 colors. It is going to be more of a monochrome gray color palette. Well, if you step up to your EX, LX, and SX trim levels, there are going to be a total of 9 color options that you can go for. It is going to add colors such as red, blue, as well as even a burgundy color. And then if you go for this top of the line SXL trim level, it is going to drop a few colors. For example, you're not going to get that red or that blue color on your top of the line SXL trim level. Now, as far as headlights go, they are going to look extremely attractive looking. If you go for any trim level other than the SX with the Touring package and the SX-Limited, you are going to get halogen projector beam headlights. But if you go for this range topping SX with the Touring package or the SXL that we have right here, you are going to get full LED headlight module with curve adaptability and high beam assist. And they definitely look extremely attractive looking. It is going to be sort of like a tri-module design here. On the furthest portion out, it is going to be a bi-functioning LED headlight module right here, so it is going to work as both your high and your low beams, while these inner portions are going to be more of a LED daytime running light in a way. And then below here, you are going to have this LED turn signal indicator that's going to run all the way down beneath the entire module of the headlights, which definitely looks extremely attractive looking. It is going to have your turn signal indicator, as you can see on this side. Now, as far as your fog lights go, if you go for that EX and the SX trim level, you are going to get projector halogen bulbs down here. Well, if you go for the SX with the limited trim level, it is going to come with a more exclusive ice cube projector beam LED fog light module down here. Definitely looks extremely attractive looking. It sort of reminds me of ice cubes, honestly, and it has sort of like an ice cube feel to it. Definitely looks extremely attractive looking and feels pretty cool as well. And this is going to be slightly revised for 2019 as well. Pre-refresh models, this sort of have a larger ice cube design down here. This is going to be a little bit small, a little bit more of a squinty and athletic design, and it is going to have this portion that is going to cut in and be your side wind curtain portion, which is going to allow for air to flow down the side of the vehicle, helping with aerodynamics and cooling off your front tires. Now, as far as your grille goes up here, you are going to get a satin silver surround on your grille with a black inner portion on your non-SX models. While if you go for your SX and your SX Limited, you are going to get more of this dark gunmetal surround around your grille, as well as a pretty attractive looking dark metallic inner portion right here. Definitely looks extremely attractive looking and gives the front fascia a lot more of a premium look. Now, as far as your lower fascia goes, you are going to get a glossy black lower fascia on here on your EX trim levels and above. While if you go for all other trim levels that are lower than your EX, you are going to get a matte finish down there. Now, as far as your fog light surrounds go here, you are going to get these fog light surrounds right here, exclusive to the XX trim levels and above. And another feature that I really like about the front fascia of the Sorento is going to be this stainless steel front bumper protector portion down here. If you want this, it is going to be available, actually standard equipment on your SX and your SXL trim level. All lower end trim levels are not going to come with this, but I believe if you go for that EX trim level, you are going to get a plastic silver painted portion on the lower fascia, sort of imitating this stainless steel scuff plate. Alright, so now let's talk about the mildly revised side design on the 2019 Kia Sorento. So it is going to have relatively the same overall side body styling, but you are going to get new rims on all of your trim levels except the SX model. Overall, the Sorento is going to have a traditional 3-row SUV profile and silhouette. It is going to have a moderately sized hood up here, as well as a mildly swept back A-pillar and a relatively horizontal roofline running all the way down the side to the rear of the vehicle. You're also going to have a relatively blunt rear, as well as a relatively blunt front fascia up there as well. As far as rear overhang goes, it is not going to have far as much rear overhang as a lot of its competitors have, as well as the overall front overhang up there as well is not going to be that much either. Now, as far as your rims go, you are going to have 17-inch alloy wheels on your L and your LX trim levels. If you go to your EX trim level, you are going to get 18-inch alloy wheels with machine finish and sort of like glossy black pockets in them. If you go for your SX trim level, you are going to get 19-inch wheels with red brake calipers. And then if you go for this top of the line SXL trim level, you will get 19-inch chrome alloy wheels with black brake calipers. Now, standard on all 2019 Kia Sorentos are going to be 4-wheel disc brakes. And as far as lower body cladding goes, you are going to get plastic cladding on your L, LX, and EX trim levels. While if you go for your SX and your SXL trim levels, you will get body colored cladding over here around your wheel wells as well as on the lower fascia of your vehicle. Also, right here, you are going to get sort of like this chrome lower fascia accenting right here on your doors. That is only going to be available on your SXL trim level. As far as your mirror caps go, you are going to get standard body colored mirror caps on all of your trim levels, as well as standard turn signal indicators, and those are going to be standard LED turn signal indicators on all of your 2019 Kia Sorentos. And as far as your roof rails go, all of your trim levels are going to come with roof rails, except your base L model. Right here on this SXL, we are going to have this roof rail right there. Definitely looks extremely attractive looking. And as far as your panoramic sunroof goes, it is only going to be available on your EX with the Touring package and above trim levels. Alright, so now let's talk about the rear fascia design on the 2019 Kia Sorento. So it is going to get a slight update over the pre-refresh model. It is going to have revised taillight styling here on all of your trim levels, as well as slightly revised rear bumper design right here. It is going to have a little bit more of a bold and strong character line towards the outer portion of the bumper here, very similar to what's found on the front fascia. And this is going to be a new design on all of your trim levels. But overall, it is going to have a very similar look to the previous model, but it is going to have a slightly more angular and sporty appearance. Now, looking at the overall options on the rear of the 2019 Sorento, Starting at the top, you are going to have this standard shark fin antenna on all of your trim levels except that base L model. If you want this rear spoiler, you're in luck because this is going to be standard on all of your trim levels, starting on your base L all the way up to this range topping SXL trim level. Incandescent taillights are going to be on your L and LX trim level. If you want these LED taillights right here, you have to step up to your EX, SX, and SXL trim levels. These are going to be LED combination taillights though. You're not going to have any LED turn signal indicators, nor are you going to have an LED reverse light. Definitely would have liked to have seen those two things on this top of the line SXL model, but at least Kia is going to give you these pretty attractive looking LED rear tail lights right here. You're also going to get an LED third brake light right here integrated into your standard rear spoiler. Now, if you want any of this bright work on your lower fascia on your rear bumper, that is only going to be on your SX and your SX-Limited trim levels, and that is going to add your chrome accents around your reflectors right here, as well as this stainless steel bumper protector, as well as a stainless steel scuff plate down there, which sort of looks like a diffuser, very similar to what's found on the front fascia of the 2019 model. And if you want this overall sporty design, I definitely recommend going for the SX and the SXL trim level. The EX is also going to have a pretty sporty design, but if you want a very sporty looking Sorento, I definitely recommend going for models that have the SX lettering in them. But if you are not willing to spend as much money, I definitely recommend going for that EX model, since it is going to come with sort of like a satin silver plastic portion down here, which is not going to be a stainless steel portion or anything like that, but it's going to be a plastic portion that is going to be painted with satin silver, definitely giving a little bit more of a sporty look. And then all trim levels are going to come standard with a single exhaust pipe, so that's definitely pretty generous on Kia's end. Definitely would have liked to have seen a dual exhaust pipe on your V6 models though. But all in all, the rear fascia of the Kia Sorento definitely looks extremely attractive looking. You are going to have your very large Kia logo right there, as well as your Sorento nameplate and your SXL V6 lettering right there, pretty much letting everyone know that you did step up to that top of the line model, and you are going to be having that larger V6 engine. All in all, the 2019 Kia Sorento is not going to get very drastic updates, but it is going to be subtle yet greatly appreciated updates. And that's mainly because the Sorento was first introduced for the 2016 model year, so it's not necessarily going to be a terrible thing that Kia did not completely overhaul the Sorento, mainly because it has aged gracefully over the years. In my personal opinion, I feel like this looks extremely attractive looking, and definitely is amongst one of the most attractive looking offerings on the market currently in the three-row crossover segment. Simply put, the 2019 Kia Sorento is going to boast a mature and formal styling with a hint of aggressive athleticism. Alright guys, so at this point in the video, I would truly appreciate it if you would please subscribe to the Drive and Be Driven YouTube channel, as well as like this video if you have enjoyed what you have seen so far. Also, feel free to comment down below right now saying which vehicle you would like for me to review next. But with all that to the side, let's get right back to the 2019 Kia Sorento. Now, as far as the width goes for this SUV, it is going to be just about 74.4 inches in width, which is going to be wider than all compact three-row SUVs by just about 2 to 3 inches, but it will be notably narrower than most mid-sized three-row family crossovers, in which it is going to be just about 1.5 inches narrower than something like a Toyota Highlander, and a whopping 4 inches narrower than something like a Honda Pilot. The length of the Kia Sorento is going to be 189 inches, which is going to be a slight increase over the 2018 model, and that's mainly going to be due to the overall new bumper styling. They are going to protrude out from the front and the rear just a little bit more than the pre-refresh model. But in terms of the overall length, the Sorento is going to be notably longer than something like the Volkswagen Tiguan and the Mitsubishi Outlander by just about 4 inches, but it is going to be surprisingly shorter than Dodge's Journey by up to 3 inches, all of which are going to be compact three-row SUVs. While the Sorento will be much shorter than the longer entries in the mid-size three-row SUV segment by up to a whopping 15.3 inches. Now, the wheelbase of the Kia Sorento, which is pretty much going to be from the middle of that wheel right there all the way to the middle of that wheel over there, is going to be 109.4 inches, which is going to be just about 4.5 inches shorter than Dodge's Journey, but it will be just about 4 inches longer than Mitsubishi's Outlander, and about the same wheelbase as the Volkswagen Tiguan. That's if you're looking at the compact three-row SUV segment. In terms of the mid-size SUV segment, despite it trailing behind when analyzing most exterior dimensions, the Sorento will offer pretty class competitive wheelbase figures, slotting in at about half an inch less less than the Toyota Highlander and only about 1.5 inches less than the Honda Pilot. But it is very important to keep in mind that it will trail behind much larger entries like the Volkswagen Atlas and the Chevrolet Traverse. And as far as the turning radius goes, the Kia Sorento is going to have an 18.6 foot turning radius if you go for those front-wheel drive models, and an 18.65 foot radius if you go for all-wheel drive models. All in all though, the Kia Sorento is going to have one of the smallest turning radiuses in the mid-size 3-row SUV segment. Consequently, it will be a lot more in line with the compact 3-row SUVs, meaning maneuvering in tight city situations and smaller parking lots should be a lot easier than those mid-size entries with 3 rows of seats. Now, as far as the height goes for the Sorento, it is going to be 66.5 inches in height if you go for the models with roof rails, but if you go for the models without roof rails, it is going to be 66.3 inches. Now, that is going to be just about the same height as all compact 3-row crossovers, but it will be much lower than the tallest entries in the mid-size 3-row family crossover segment by up to just about 5 inches if you are looking at competitors such as the Subaru Ascent and Chevrolet's Traverse. Ground clearance will measure in at 7.3 inches, therefore it won't have the lowest ground clearance in the compact and mid-size 3-row crossover segments, but it definitely won't have the highest ground clearance either. It will feature notably less ground clearance than something like Subaru's Ascent, which does have a whopping 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which is actually one of the tallest ground clearances in that mid-size 3-row crossover segment. And when it comes to the overall weight of the Kia Sorento, lower end trim levels with front wheel drive are going to weigh in at just around 3,800 pounds, while if you go for lower end trim levels with all wheel drive, they are going to be just under 4,000 pounds. Higher end trim levels with front wheel drive, like the one I have right here, are going to be just around 4,200 pounds. And if you go for higher end trim levels with that all wheel drive option, they are going to be just a little bit more than 4,300 pounds. Now, that weight is going to be approximately in line with most other mid-size 3-row crossovers, but it will actually be a whole lot heavier than those compact 3-row SUV entries. In a nutshell though, lower end Sorentos will be relatively in line with those compact entries, but once you start optioning out your Sorento, it can get up to 500 to 700 pounds heavier than a top-of-the-line model of most 3-row compact utility vehicle entries. Alright, so now I am going to give you guys a brief trim level breakdown for the 2019 Kia Sorento. So technically there are going to be a total of 5 trim levels for 2019. You are going to have your L, which is going to be your base model. Then you're going to have your LX, which is going to add a few more convenience features. If you go for your EX trim level, that is going to add some more convenience features, as well as a slightly more sporty exterior appearance. If you go for your SX trim level, it is going to give you a drastic visual upgrade. It is going to have a more premium and athletic appearance, similar to the one that I have right here. And then if you step to the SX-L, which is the exact model that I have right here, it is going to be very similar to the SX in terms of design, but it is going to add a few more comfort and safety features. So for certain trim levels, there are going to be upgradable packages to better equip your 2019 Sorento. So if you go for that base L model, there are going to be no available packages, but it is going to come with a 7-inch infotainment system touchscreen, which is going to be an upgrade over last year models in which they did come with a smaller screen. And you're also going to get standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay integration, which is also a new thing for 2019. You're also going to get standard cloth seats with Yes Essentials stain resistant treatment, as well as a 6-speaker audio system, just to name a few. Now, if you go for that LX trim level, there is going to be one available package, and without that optional package, you are going to get the addition of safety warning systems such as blind spot warning and rear cross traffic alert. Well, if you go for that LX with the convenience package, it is going to add rear parking sensors, as well as heated front seats, a 10-way driver's seat, dual zone climate control, leather wrapped steering wheel, and a leather wrapped gear selector knob. Go for that EX trim level and there will also be one available package, but if you go for without that available package, you are going to come with upgraded leather seats, smart proximity key with your push button start, as well as the addition of Kia's suite of active safety systems. I'm going to go over all of those safety systems later on in this video in the safety section. And if you go for that touring package on that EX trim level, it is going to add luxurious touches such as your Harman Kardon 10-speaker premium audio system, as well as a larger 8-inch touchscreen with navigation, LED cabin lighting, panoramic sunroof with your second row sunshades, a heated steering wheel, and the convenience of front parking sensors. Now, if you go for your SX trim level, there will also be one available package. But if you go for the SX without that available package, you will get a thoroughly updated exterior styling, which is going to give you that more premium and sporty exterior look, very similar to the one I have right here. It's also going to come with upgraded 14-way driver's seat, as well as wireless phone charging, and a standard panoramic sunroof, which is not going to be a part of any optional package like the EX trim level. Now, if you go for the SX with the Touring package, it is going to add these LED headlights that we have right here on this model, as well as your power folding side mirrors, the same thing that we have on this model. And it will also feature some comfort features such as ventilated seats and a heated steering wheel, just to name a few. Now, if you go for the SXL trim level, like the one that we have right here, it's not going to come with any available packages, but it is going to feature more premium interior touches, such as high-grade Napa leather seating for all of your rows, and that is going to be exclusive to the SXL trim level. And you're also going to get upgraded rims, like these rims right here. These are going to be pretty attractive looking 19-inch chrome accented rims. Definitely look extremely attractive looking and dress up the exterior styling of this vehicle. And you will also get updated fog lights. Like I mentioned earlier, you will get these pretty attractive looking and exclusive to the SXL trim level ice cube fog lights. But all in all, that's pretty much a brief trim level breakdown for 2019. Kia has definitely made it a lot more simplistic for the 2019 model year. Also, a new thing for 2019 is that there are not going to be an optional 2-row 5-passenger model for the Kia Sorento. For 2019, Kia has dropped that model, and now you can only get a 3-row 7-passenger variant, which can definitely be an upside and a downside to some people. But when you think about it, you don't necessarily have to be using that 3rd row of seat the whole time. You can just fold it right on down and just use it as a 2-row 5-passenger vehicle. But Kia is going to add the extra convenience of that 3rd row and a total of 7 seats for those who have larger families or want to go on longer road trips. So all in all, I feel like Kia has definitely packaged this vehicle a lot better for the 2019 model year, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be satisfied with the overall packaging that Kia is offering for the 2019 model year on the newly refreshed 2019 Sorento. Alright, so as far as pricing goes for the Kia Sorento, it is going to range anywhere from $25,990 for a base L model with front-wheel drive to just about $48,000 for a top-of-the-line SX-Limited model with all-wheel drive. Now, every trim level for 2019 will get a slight price increase over their 2018 models. So the trim level pricing for the 2019 Sorento will consist of the following. Your base L model will be $25,990. Your LX trim level will start at $27,490. Your LX with the V6 engine option is going to start at $31,290. Your EX trim level will start at $35,590. Your SX trim level will start at $39,900, and your SX Limited, like the one we have right here, will start at $44,690. Now, it is going to be additional $1,800 to all trim levels except that base L if you want all-wheel drive on your Kia Sorento. And that's mainly because that base L doesn't offer all-wheel drive, but we will talk about engine and powertrain options a little bit later on in this review. Now, as far as competition goes, the Sorento's $26,000 starting price is closely in line with the starting prices of compact 3-row SUVs, but it will begin to become noticeably more expensive than those compact entries once you begin to fully option out your Sorento. Well, if you are shopping in the mid-size 3-row crossover SUV segment, you will instantly notice that the 2019 Sorento will start at a significantly lower price point, in which almost every mid-size 3-row SUV starts in the low $30,000 range. Therefore, there will be just about a $5,000 gap between a base Sorento and a base model of most mid-size 3-row crossover SUVs. But once you start looking at fully loaded Sorentos, its price tag will begin to become noticeably more in line with the majority of 3-row mid-size entries, in which most 3-row mid-size crossovers will fully top out at approximately $50,000, which is just around where the Kia Sorento will top out around. Now, as far as competition goes, the Sorento will have competitive pricing in its higher end trims with the majority of mid-size 3-row family crossover SUVs, but the Sorento starts with pricing that is a lot more in line with most compact utility 3-row crossovers. Therefore, it can compete in both the compact and mid-size SUV segments, but solely against 3-row offerings, since the 2019 Sorento will no longer offer that 2-row 5-passenger variant. So if you are looking at the compact 3-row crossover SUV segment, you can be looking at competitors such as the Volkswagen Tiguan in its 3-row variant, the Dodge Journey, which only comes with a 3-row variant, and then the Mitsubishi Outlander, which also only has 3 rows. You could also be looking at the ultra competitive mid-size 3-row crossover segment, and some of those competitors can include the Honda Pilot, the Ford Explorer, the Ford Flex, the Subaru Ascent, the Dodge Durango, the GMC Acadia, the Hyundai Santa Fe XL, which is pretty much the Kia Sorento's cousin. You also have the Chevrolet Traverse, the Nissan Pathfinder, the Toyota Highlander, the Volkswagen Atlas, and even Mazda CX-9. Now, the Sorento is a mainstream or non-luxury SUV, but top-of-the-line models can definitely give certain 3-row luxury crossovers on the market a good run for their money. But all in all, the Kia Sorento is definitely going to be competing in 2 very competitive segments, so it's definitely going to have a tough time standing out. But let's finish walking around this vehicle and pretty much see those features that will make it stand out and pretty much have buyers favor this vehicle over its competitors. Alright, so now let's check out what's under the hood of the 2019 Sorento. So to open up the hood, all you have to do is come right over here above your Kia logo. There's going to be a little bar instead of here, a little bit right to the Kia logo. Push to the left and lift it right on up. Now, your hood is going to be assisted with struts, which is definitely a very neat feature, especially since this hood definitely has quite a bit of weight to it. I definitely feel the weight, but all the weight is relieved by those struts, so that's definitely a pretty neat feature. But as far as engines go, there are going to be a total of 2 available engines for 2019. You are going to have a 2.4-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, which is the only engine choice on your base L model, and it will be standard on your LX model as well. If you go for that 3.3-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, which is the one that we have right here, it is going to be optional on your LX trim level, but the only engine available on your SX and SXL trim levels. Now, Kia has dropped their mid-range 2.0T 4-cylinder engine for 2019, so it is important to keep in mind that most mid-size 3-row crossovers will come standard with V6 engines, but all compact 3-row crossovers will come standard with a 4-cylinder. So technically there is going to be no turbocharger available for the 2019 model year. Surprisingly enough, Kia has rumored that they will be introducing a diesel engine for the Sorento, which will be the very first diesel-powered Kia in the US. Unfortunately, Kia has not fully confirmed the exact diesel engine that will be coming to the US, but I presume that it will be the 2.2-liter turbo diesel that Kia is currently selling in European models, which interestingly enough is exactly the same engine rumored to be in the Sorento's cousin, the Santa Fe, which will be coming out at a later date as well. So if you are looking at the 2.4-liter gasoline direct injected dual overhead cam 16-valve 4-cylinder engine that is going to be naturally aspirated with no turbocharger, it is going to produce 185 horsepower at a pretty late 6,000 RPM and 178 pound-feet of torque at a slightly earlier 4,000 RPM, and that engine is going to be paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Step up to the 3.3-liter gasoline direct injected dual overhead cam 24-valve V6 engine. Once again, not going to be turbocharged, will be naturally aspirated, and you should expect power output numbers of 290 horsepower at a slightly later than the 4-cylinder engine at 6,400 RPM and 252 pound-feet of torque, which is going to be a lot more than what's found on that 4-cylinder engine, and it is going to be available at a slightly later 5,300 RPM. Now, that larger V6 engine is going to be paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and new for 2019 is going to be an 8-speed automatic transmission, which is going to be an upgrade of 2 gears over 2018 models. Now, there's also going to be an optional torque vectoring all-wheel drive system with locking center differential as an availability on all trim levels except that base L model. All models will also come standard with front-wheel drive, but it is important to keep in mind that the V6 model will have a much better power-to-weight ratio than that 4-cylinder model. So you should expect the V6 equipped Sorentos to be the more thrilling to drive of the two. And as far as towing capability goes, that 4-cylinder engine with the front wheel drive will be able to tow up to 2,000 pounds. If you go for all-wheel drive on that 4-cylinder engine, you're not going to see an increase in overall towing capability. You're still going to be looking at 2,000 pounds. Go for that V6 engine with front wheel drive, like the one that we have right here, and you should expect to be able to tow up to 3,500 pounds. And if you option for all-wheel drive on that V6 engine, you are going to be able to tow up to a pretty impressive 5,000 pounds. Alright, so now let's talk about the fuel economy for the 2019 Sorento. So all Sorentos are going to come with a lockable fuel door here. So to unlock the door, all you have to do is go up to your driver's area and press the button left of your steering wheel, and your fuel door will unlock. So all you have to do is open this right on up, and it is going to feature a cap design for your fuel tank right there. It's not going to have a capless design, unfortunately, but very traditional to most vehicles. All you have to do is come in here, twist it to the left, and hook it right onto your door. It's going to have that little door hook there, so it's not going to scratch up your paint or be in the way, and you can just lift it right back up and put it right back inside of there. Now, this fuel tank is going to be an 18.8 gallon fuel tank, and regular unleaded fuel is going to be recommended or of higher quality. So if you go for the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine with that front wheel drive setup, you should expect 22 miles per gallon in the city, 29 miles per gallon on the highway, and 25 miles per gallon combined, and that is going to be the most fuel efficient way that you can get the 2019 Sorento. If you go for all-wheel drive on that same 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, your fuel economy is going to drop just a little bit to 21 miles per gallon in the city, 26 miles per gallon on the highway, and 23 miles per gallon combined. Now, if you go for that 3.3 liter V6 engine, you are going to see fuel economy drops all across the board for the most part. If you go for that front wheel drive model, you are going to be looking at 19 miles per gallon in the city, 26 miles per gallon on the highway, and 22 miles per gallon combined. And then if you go for the all-wheel drive model on that same V6 engine, you are going to be looking at 19 miles per gallon in the city, 24 on the highway, and 21 miles per gallon combined. And interestingly enough, fuel economy is going to increase in the highway and combined ratings for the 4-cylinder model by just about 1 mpg over the 2018 models. And fuel economy is also going to increase all across the board if you go for that V6 engine, due to it being paired to a more fuel efficient 8-speed automatic transmission as opposed to last year's 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, since most 3-row mid-size family crossovers will come with a V6, the Sorento will be notably more fuel efficient than those standard V6 engines in those mid-size crossovers, because the Sorento is going to come with a standard 4-cylinder engine. And surprisingly, the 4-cylinder Sorento will also be more fuel efficient, and in some cases relatively in line with those compact offerings. But when you are comparing apples to apples, or V6 engine to V6 engine for the most part, in those mid-size 3-row crossovers, the Sorento on average will be just about 1 to 3 miles per gallon less fuel efficient than comparably equipped mid-size competitors. Alright, so now let's look at the interior of the Kia Sorento. So since we have the top of the line SX-L trim level here, it is going to come with your proximity key. So as long as you have this proximity key on you, you can unlock the door without using your key at all. So you just press this once. It will unlock your door by flashing the hazards, opening up your mirror, and playing a chime beeping twice. You press it once more. It will chime once, close up your mirrors, and flash the hazards once again. But let's open up the door. And looking at your door panel here, it's definitely going to have a pretty nice looking look. It definitely looks very upscale and premium since we are going to have the top of the line SX-L trim level here. But moving in on your door panel, it is going to have this soft to the touch portion on the upper portion. It's not going to be extremely soft, but it is going to have sort of like an injected molded plastic portion up there, and it's going to sort of have like a leather imitation look to it. Coming below there, you are going to have your piano black accenting, and that is going to be encompassing your aluminum accented door handle and door lock right there. Coming over here, you will have your memory seat controls, which are definitely a pretty neat feature. It is going to have a 2-driver memory seat control. And coming below there, you are going to have this aluminum accented portion running all the way beneath that piano black portion, sort of mimicking your overall door handle design right there. Now coming beneath there, you are going to have this clay or terracotta like color on the middle portion of your door panel. It is going to be sort of like the same material as found up here, same plushness and pattern, just in a slightly different color. Right over here, you are going to have a pretty soft and premium feeling door armrest right here. Definitely looks extremely good. It is going to be your Napa leather right here, I believe, and it's going to be extremely plush actually. Not the plushest door armrest that I have felt, but definitely pretty high quality feeling for sure. Very supple and smooth leather. You're also going to have some of that stitching running all the way down the side right there. Definitely looks very attractive looking. And coming up here, you will have your mirror controls for opening and closing. You're also going to have your mirror adjustability right there. Behind there, you will have your door locks as well as your window locks, and behind there you will have all of your window controls, auto up and down, one touch for all 4 of your windows. Behind there, you are going to have a handle that you can just put your hand right inside of. It's not going to be a cubby or anything like that, unfortunately. And coming below there, you will have black plastic accenting all the way on the bottom of your door. It is going to be a hard to the touch plastic, pretty much what you would want on the lower portion of the door and pretty much what you would expect in this category of vehicle. You're also going to have some cubbies down here. You're going to have a pretty large cubby right there. You're also going to have a bottle holder cubby right there, definitely pretty large looking for sure. And then you're also going to have another smaller cubby right over there in the forward portion. Now looking at your speaker here, it is going to be a Harman Kardon speaker, and that is going to be one of the 10 speakers located all around the cabin inside of this top of the line SX-L model. Your base speaker is going to be a 6-speaker system, which is going to be on your L, LX, and EX models, while if you step up to your EX with the touring package and above trim levels, you will get this upgraded Harman Kardon 10-speaker audio system. Now coming over here, you are going to have a pretty neat and premium looking aluminum kick plate right here, and it's going to say Sorento right there, and it's going to sort of be like embossed saying Sorento. Definitely looks pretty neat. Coming over here to your seat materials, it is going to have a Napa leather seating on this top of the line SX-L trim level, and we are going to have the terracotta clay color on this model. Definitely looks extremely attractive looking, and you are going to have perforations since these seats are going to be ventilated and heated. We will talk about that a little bit later on in this review. Definitely has a very plush feel to it, and I really like the overall diamond pattern running all the way along the seat back and seat bottom cushion. You're also going to have leather stitching running up your side bolstering as well as your thigh extension portion right there. Now, as far as seat materials go, you are going to get cloth seats on your L and your LX trim level, but you are going to get leather seats if you step up to your EX and your SX trim level. And if you go for your top of line SX-Limited, you will get these premium Napa leather seats. Now, as far as seat colors go, your base L will only come with black cloth seats. If you go for your LX, it will come with black or beige cloth seats. Go for your EX, it will come with, once again, black or beige seats, but they are going to be leather in that EX model. Go for the SX, you will have 3 color options actually. You will have light gray, black, or dark brown leather. And then go for the top of the line SX-L like we have right here. You can get either black Napa leather or terracotta clay colored Napa leather like the ones we have right here. Definitely looks extremely attractive looking on the interior of this vehicle. Now coming below there, you are going to have all the controls to your powered driver's seat. So you are going to have a forward motion for your thigh support right there. So you just push it all the way forward and your thigh support is going to curl out, and then you can just curl it right back in. It's definitely going to offer quite a bit of support for the underneath of your thigh. Coming below there, you're going to have your forward and your backwards controls for your seat bottom cushion, as well as your forward and back controls for your seat back, and your 4-way lumbar support on this SX-L trim level. But let's hop inside of the cabin and pretty much see how comfortable it is to sit in the front seats. Alright, so now let's talk about the front seat comfort inside of the 2019 Kia Sorento. So inside of the front seats, you are going to have a 14-way powered driver's seat as well as a 10-way powered passenger seat over there. Now since we do have the top of the line SX-L trim level, it is going to come with Napa leather seats, and that is definitely going to have a very plush feel here. I really love the feel of these seats. They definitely feel pretty plush and have a very supple feel to them. It is also going to have perforation on the center portion, since this vehicle is going to feature 3-stage ventilated and heated seats for your front driver and front passenger. Now the overall adjustability on these front seats are also actually going to be quite extensive. You can move up this bolstering right here. I actually have it all the way forward for your under thigh support, but you can also lower it down to sort of release the overall under thigh support. I really love the addition of this feature. It definitely makes the overall seating position inside of this vehicle extremely comfortable. You can also move forward and backwards your seats as well as the backrest, and you're also going to have a 4-way lumbar support inside of this vehicle as well, which is also a pretty neat feature that is going to be exclusive to your driver's seat. Your passenger seat is still going to come with lumbar support, but it's only going to be a 2-way lumbar support, and your passenger seat is also going to be missing the under thigh adjustable feature, unfortunately. But honestly, I can't really expect Kia to give everything on this vehicle. After all, they are sort of restricted to a certain price point. But this vehicle is going to feature an adjustable headrest. So if I move the seat all the way up for you guys, you will see that this headrest can move up and down, but it's not going to move in and out. Unfortunately, definitely would have liked to have seen this headrest be able to move in and out. And you're also going to have a telescoping and tilting steering wheel here, so you can push it in and out. Actually quite a bit of motion in and out, and it also has quite a bit of motion up and down, so it should be very easy to get a comfortable seating position inside of this vehicle. And one more feature that I really like inside of the Sorento is actually when you turn on the vehicle. So I'm going to put my foot on the brake and turn it on, and you're going to see that my seat just move just a little bit without me even touching this, and that's because this vehicle is going to have a memory seat setting. It's going to have a 2-stage memory seat setting for 2 drivers. So if you have a main driver and then a secondary driver, you can just pretty much set them right there, and it will be, and the seats will pretty much adjust to your comfort once you press what driver number you are, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. So all in all, sitting inside of the front seats of the Kia Sorento actually impressed me quite a bit. I wasn't expecting these seats to be as a luxury car feeling inside of here, but honestly, Kia has actually blown my mind when I am sitting inside of these front seats, especially in this top of the line SXL model. Alright, so now let's hop on into the interior of the Kia Sorento. So stepping on inside is actually going to have a pretty good step-in height, pretty much what you would expect inside of an SUV of this size. So let's close up the door really quick. Very, very solid sounding door. Let's just close that one more time because I just love how solid this door sounds. It just has a very solid, it's like a thud, but it also has like a slight soft close at the end, and then it has that assuring click at the end. Definitely has a very solid sounding door, and I really want to just praise Kia for giving this vehicle such a solid sounding door. It definitely sounds like a door you would find in a much more expensive premium automobile. But this vehicle is going to have your push button start, so all you have to do is make sure you have the key fob inside of the interior. Now this is one thing that I actually wish that Kia did update on this top of the line model, especially since it did get a mid-cycle refresh. Was definitely expecting for it to get a new key fob design. Still gonna have the same key fob that you will pretty much see on the rest of the Kia lineup. You are going to have your lock, unlock, trunk hold button, as well as your panic alarm button right there. Is going to have sort of like a aluminum accenting portion there, as well as your Kia logo on the back. It's not going to have a very very soft and plush feel to it. It's actually going to be a hard to touch plastic with sort of like a semi-scratchy feel to it, sort of giving you more of that sporty vibe. Definitely would like to see them update the key fob though, sort of like the one that's in the new Stinger. Definitely looks like extremely attractive looking, very upscale and premium, and I feel like this key fob doesn't necessarily fit the overall vehicle that well, especially in this top of the line SXL model. Definitely would like to see some type of leather or soft touch padding on this key fob. But nevertheless, make sure you have the key fob inside of the vehicle and put your foot on the brake and press this button to start it up. And my seat is going to move into its position since it is going to have that memory seat control that I did mention earlier right over there. Alright, so let's come over here to the left side of the steering wheel, and it's going to have your AC vent right there. Definitely looks extremely attractive looking. Actually, I'm going to open up the door really quick because one design cue that I really like that Kia implemented is how this is going to run all the way down to the outer portion. Pretty much areas that you're not even going to be looking at is going to have that. So it definitely looks extremely attractive looking and definitely shows Kia's attention to detail. Now coming over there, below there, you are going to have your gauge dimmer right there, so you can pretty much make the gauges brighter or dimmer. You're also going to have your blind spot monitoring button to turn it on and off. You also have your lane keep assist button right here, as well as your lane departure warning. You will have your AC 115 volt button right there, as well as your traction control off button. Coming below there, you are going to have your fuel tank door opener, as well as your trunk hold button. So you just hold that down and it will open up the trunk. And all the way down there, you will have your hood release. You will have a rubberized dead pedal, as well as aluminum pedals down here as well, which I definitely really like the look of. You're going to have a aluminum gas as well as an aluminum brake. Definitely pretty neat there. But looking at your gauge cluster, it definitely looks extremely attractive looking. This is going to be a slightly revised gauge cluster over the pre-refresh model. Actually, the only portion that is mainly going to be revised is going to be this overall screen in the center portion right there. But this overall layout is going to be exclusive to your EX trim levels and above. If you go for the L and the LX trim level, you are going to get a slightly different overall gauge cluster layout. So on the left, you are going to have your tachometer with your black face, red needle, and white numbers. Coming to the middle, once again, you will have your large speedometer with a black face, white numbers, and red needles. And then coming all the way on the right, you will have your coolant temperature as well as your fuel gauge. Once again, red needle, black face, and your white ticks. Now moving in the center, you are going to have a 7-inch colored screen right here, and this color screen is going to be exclusive, like I said, to the EX and above trim levels. If you go for the lower end trim levels, you are going to get a 3.5-inch screen inside of there. Definitely is going to be extremely attractive looking inside of the Sorento, and to control that, you are going to have to come down here and press this page button as well as this scroll and OK button to go through the different options inside of that screen. So I'm going to press the page button right now. It is going to take me through the 4 different pages inside of this system. So on the first page, you are going to have your fuel economy, accumulated info, as well as your drive info. You're also going to have a digital speedometer. Below there, you will also have your different drive modes, as well as an economical and aggressive meter. And that'll be pretty much it on that first page. Go to the second page, and that is going to be your turn-by-turn navigation. Since we don't have an SD card inserted inside of the Sorento currently, it's not going to display anything. Press that page button one more time. It is going to show you your lane keep assist, pretty much where you are within your lane. If you're verging to the right or merging to the left, it will pretty much show the vehicle getting closer to either line. If you go below there, you're going to have your driver attention warning, which will pretty much tell you the last time you had a break, and will pretty much prevent you from falling asleep at the wheel, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. And if you come below there, you're going to have your tire pressure monitor. Press the page button one more time. You will have all of your user settings. So if you go into driver assistance, you're going to have your lane safety, driver attention warning, and all of these other safety systems that the Sorento will come with. Coming below there, you're going to have your door settings, your light settings, sound settings, convenience settings, service intervals, and other. Press the page button one more time, and you will go right back to your first page. All in all, the system is definitely very intuitive and very fast. I mean, you pretty much press the button and it's snappy. It takes you right there with no problem. One thing I really wish that Kia implemented on this vehicle was a back button. So if I go to like other, for example, and I scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, in order to go all the way back to the top of the page, I'll have to scroll all the way back to the top. There's no back button on the screen, unfortunately, but you do have to go all the way to the top and then press back. Definitely feel like that's a little bit annoying. Definitely would like to have a back button on here, but that's honestly sort of nitpicking. I mean, for the most part, it is going to be relatively intuitive and easy to use, but for the most part, I would keep it right here on this speedometer. Now, looking at your steering wheel design, it is going to be new for 2019. It is going to have a 4-spoke steering wheel design. The pre-refresh model sort of had a 4-spoke steering wheel design, but definitely was sort of mimicking 3 spokes. This vehicle is definitely not trying to mimic any type of 3 spokes. It's full-on 4-spoke steering wheel design, and I really love the feel of it because you can hold the wheel down here, inside of here, and they definitely made the cutouts very large for your whole hand to actually fit inside of all 4 of these portions, which I really like. You're also going to have pretty aggressive 10 and 2 notches, as well as very comfortable 9 and 3 grips. On the grips, you're also going to have a perforated leather with some very nice stitching inside of there as well. It's going to be a black leather steering wheel. It's going to have a very soft to the touch feel. It doesn't feel like Napa leather though. I don't think this is a Napa leather steering wheel. It definitely feels like a more traditional leather steering wheel. It doesn't feel as plush and premium as your seating surfaces. But over here on the left, you are going to have your voice command button as well as your mode button for your radio. You're also going to have your volume up and down as well as your mute if you push it in. You also have your up and down for your tuning for your radio, as well as your hang up and your pickup button. Right here you will have your nice Kia logo as well as some imitation stitching running all the way around your horn cover. Let's honk the horn. Very loud horn. I really like the sound of that horn. Definitely suits the overall size of this vehicle. Definitely has a very large car sound to it. Coming over here, you are going to have all of your controls right here for your screen up there, and then over here you will have all of your cruise control settings and buttons right there, as well as your distance marker button for your adaptive cruise control. Now coming below there, you're going to have some of that piano black accenting on these lower spokes of the steering wheel. All in all, I really like the overall steering wheel design on the Sorento. Now coming over here to your center stack, you are going to have a SD card slot right on this upper portion right here. Now coming down here, you are going to have your 8-inch touchscreen, which definitely looks pretty attractive looking. This 8-inch touchscreen is going to be standard on your EX with the Touring package and above trim levels. If you go for that L, LX, or the EX without the Touring package, you are going to get a smaller 7-inch touchscreen, which is an upgrade from the pre-refresh model, which did come with a much smaller head unit inside here. This is going to be the standard head unit, and a reverse camera is going to be standard on all of your models. I'm going to show you the reverse camera in just a little bit. But looking at the overall screen here, pretty much what you would expect in most Hyundai Kia products. It is going to have your quick access buttons on the side, as well as your 3-quadrant portion right here. So if you press there, it will take you to your time settings and all that stuff. Press over here will take you to your radio and turn your radio on. Over here you will have your all menus, your phone, and your my menu. So over here on the left you will have radio, media, seek and track, as well as your volume knob right there. And then if you come over here to the right, you will have your map, navigation button, and I believe that'll be the button for your Kia e-services. You press that and it will pair to your phone through that system. You're also going to have your setup button as well as your tune knob right there. All in all though, this touchscreen is definitely going to be extremely responsive. For example, if I go to radio really quick, put that on mute, you can scroll through your radio right here. It's going to be supporting swiping, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. Very fast and snappy. Actually, it seems really fast. I think this head unit did get an update because I don't remember the Hyundai Kia unit being this fast when you do swipe through it. You're also going to have all of your presets, your channel list, your menu, all that stuff. And if you go right over here to media, you are not going to have any type of media device connected. That would pretty much be your phone connected through a USB port or through Bluetooth. Coming over here, you'll have your map, your navigation, as well as a few more buttons. All in all, very easy and understandable to use. This 8-inch touchscreen is going to be greatly appreciated over that 7-inch touchscreen, especially considering the larger size of this vehicle. And this screen is also going to feature Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is also a pretty neat feature that is going to be standard for 2019, which was not the case for 2018. They did charge extra for that last year. Now coming over here to the left, you are going to have your push button start right here, which is going to have that glossy accenting around there, as well as this aluminum accent around there, and your push button start. It's not going to be an actual aluminum button. Definitely would have liked to have seen that, but once again, that's sort of nitpicking. Coming beneath there, I really like how Kia sort of separated the overall center stack here. You are going to have all of your radio and infotainment system controls up there, as well as all your comfort controls lower in the dashboard. You are going to have a dual zone climate control inside of this vehicle. You can adjust the temperature by just twisting this very solid feeling knob. I really love the feel of this knob. It's going to have grips around there as well as some aluminum accenting. It has a really nice click to it as well. Really love the feel of that. And coming over here, you are going to have your in-car circulation button as well as your AC for your rear seat occupants, which we will go ahead and check out in just a little bit. You also have your hazards button right there, front and rear window defroster, your fan speed. And the AC gets pretty strong inside of this vehicle. Not the strongest AC I felt, actually. Some vehicles definitely really just blow it all out at your face. This is not going to be extremely strong, but definitely will be acceptable. I mean, when you think about it, this vehicle has tons of AC vents since it is going to have 3 rows of seats, so it cannot give you a ton of power to the front seats solely. Now, coming beneath there, you are going to have your different zones that you want the AC to blow on you at. You're also going to have heated and cooled seats inside of this vehicle. That's something I really love inside of this vehicle, mainly because it is extremely hot outside, and these cooled seats are just such a relief to sit inside of. And you can also go to heated seats, but I definitely do not want that in the summer. You also have a heated steering wheel as well as your heated and cooled seats for your passenger side. The cooled seats are actually quite loud. It's because they're ventilated seats, so it's going to have sort of like a fan inside of there. It definitely gets a little bit loud. Sort of sounds like an AC underneath your seat, but it's not going to be overly loud to where you can't hear anything, because I have them on right now and you can still hear me with no problem. It's just a little bit of a whirring noise that you are going to hear when you are just sitting inside of the vehicle all by yourself. Now beneath there, you are going to have this piano plastic running all the way along here, and you're also going to have a little button right here, so if you push that back, it's going to go swinging open, and you are going to have a 12-volt power outlet, 2 12-volt power outlets, as well as a USB port right there and your auxiliary port. And this vehicle is also going to feature wireless charging, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. So I have my phone right here. I have a Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, so if I just put that right inside of there, it's going to fit in there with no problem whatsoever, and I can just close that right on up with no problem whatsoever. Now coming behind there, you are going to have a new gear selector for 2019 as well. It is going to have a leather wrapping up there as well as some aluminum accenting, a very solid feeling button right there. Really love the overall gear selector design right here. And you're also going to have a leather boot. You will have park, reverse, neutral, and drive. So if you put it all the way into drive and then you push it to the left, it is going to put you into your Sportmatic mode. So if you look over here, you are going to have that 1 gear down there, and you will pretty much shift through the different gears. So I just pressed up, is going to show 2, and if you shift down, it will show 1, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. And then if you put it right back into drive, it will show a D down there. So let's put this into reverse here, and when you put it into reverse, you are going to have a reverse camera as well as your 360-degree camera here on this top of the line SX-L trim level. You can also cycle through the different views that you want to see. You can just look at the rear, you can look at the rear as well as your left side, and then you can look at the rear as well as the right side of the vehicle, and then you can look at the whole 360 view with the rear right there. You're also going to have your trajectory, so when you turn the steering wheel, it is going to show where you are projected to go, and it's also going to have your distance markers there as well, which is definitely a pretty neat, convenient feature. You're also going to have front and rear parking sensors on this model as well. So let's put that right back into park. Over here on the right, you are going to have 2 cup holders. They're both going to be the exact same size, and they definitely are going to be pretty accommodating. You are going to see right now, I'm going to be putting water bottles inside of those cup holders right now. And it's also going to sort of have like this aluminum accenting running all the way around your cup holders. Coming over here to the left, you will have your different drive modes. So right over here inside of your gauge cluster, when I press the drive mode button, is going to change which drive mode you're in. So right now I am in comfort mode. It's going to show you right down there. If I press it, it's going to go into eco mode. It's going to give you sort of like a little bit of a green accenting inside of there. Press it once more, it will go into sport mode, give you a little bit of a red accenting. and then you press it once more, it will go into smart mode. Now smart mode is going to pretty much be a system in which the Kia Sorento will cycle through the different drive modes, pretty much adapting to how you are driving. So if you are flooring it, then it's going to go into sport mode. If you are driving a little bit more efficiently and not really flooring it, it's going to go into eco mode. And if you're just cruising down the highway, it'll probably go into comfort or eco mode, depending on what the system thinks you will want. So definitely a pretty neat feature. Definitely would like to see a little bit more of a change happening in the gauge cluster. Really, you just go to it and it's just going to show a little bit of a green line on the top or a white line on the top, as well as that slight difference at the bottom. Definitely would like to see a little bit of a difference in there, but honestly, that's at least Kia is going to give you that feature. Now coming back below there, you are going to have your parking sensors like I mentioned earlier, as well as your 360 view camera, which you can just turn on by itself. You don't have to have the vehicle in reverse. If you have the vehicle in drive, you can press this button and it will show you your 360 view camera, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. You also have your electronic parking brake here, as well as your auto hold button. So if you press this button, it will pretty much hold the brake inside of the vehicle, so you don't have to keep your foot on the brake in stop and go traffic or when you're sitting at a stoplight. And right over here, you are going to have a blank button. This button will be available if you go for your all-wheel drive model. I believe this is going to be your locking differential button right there. Coming below there, you are going to have a pretty neat cubby that your key will fit right into with no problem. So that's definitely a pretty neat feature. And coming behind there, you are going to have a leather wrapped center armrest right here. Definitely has a pretty nice feel to it. Very, very smooth and supple feel right here. I really love the feel of this armrest. Once again, it's going to have more of that stitching there, and this is definitely going to be your Napa leather surface right here. Open that right on up. You are going to have a pretty deep center console here. It's going to go up to just about half of my forearm. You're also going to have a USB charging port inside of here, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. It is going to have sort of like a plastic lining on the bottom down there, and you can open this and take this out. You can also throw in your knickknacks inside of there and stuff like that. And over here, I really love the overall accenting underneath here. This is something that you will probably never see since most people are sitting in this angle, but once you open it up, it just looks so high quality and premium right there. I really love the addition of that inside of this vehicle. And below there, you are going to have your card holder or paper holder. Any papers that you want to hold, you can put right inside of there. Now looking at your dashboard up here, it is going to have a pretty soft to the touch feel to it, very similar to what's found on the upper door panel that I showed you earlier. It's also going to have that leather stitching running all the way down the top of your dashboard up there, and it is going to be sort of like an injected molded plastic. Below there, you're going to have this silver trim running around your AC vent and your infotainment system. That's not going to be aluminum accenting like your door handles. It's going to be a plastic with sort of like just a brushed aluminum accenting on it. It's not going to be real aluminum though, but once again, can't expect them to give you everything on this vehicle. It is sort of limited to a certain price point. And coming down here, you will have some smooth to the touch plastic. And all in all, I really like the overall interior layout and material choices that Kia decided to put inside this vehicle. Now, a lot of vehicles, when you do go for the top of the line model, you can definitely point out the areas that are in cost cutting, but Kia has definitely done an extremely good job of disguising all the cost cutting areas and really making this vehicle seem like it was originally supposed to be a luxury and more premium vehicle. Now, as far as visibility goes, looking out the hood there, you are going to have pretty good visibility. You can see the hood if you raise the seat all the way up to the top. You can see the hood with no problem. So I really like how the hood is horizontal, but it also slopes down pretty quick as well, so it is going to have pretty good visibility out the front there. And out the side, you're also going to have pretty large mirrors there, which is also a pretty neat feature. You can see quite a bit of stuff around in your mirrors. And if I come over here to the other side, you can see you will also have a large mirror over there as well. You'll also have blind spot monitoring. So if I zoom in on this mirror really quick, you can see that there's that little portion right there that is going to be your blind spot monitoring system. So if a vehicle's in your blind spot, that light will light up, pretty much letting you know not to change lanes because you may get into a collision. Kia did mount your mirror onto your A-pillar portion right here. It's definitely going to take up quite a bit of space and definitely leave you with a little bit of a blind spot up there in that corner portion. Definitely would like to see Kia in future model years to mount this mirror on the actual side of the door to help with overall visibility. And let's look out to the rear really quick. And looking out the back, you are going to have pretty good visibility considering that this is a 3-row crossover. You will have a little bit of a thick pillar over there. Your D pillar is going to be a little bit on the thick side, and this headrest is going to sort of cover up that third window quite a bit, but I really like how the window has a very wide base, so you're definitely going to be able to see if there is going to be some type of car in that portion back there. And looking out the rear, your headrests do get sort of in the way when it does come to your rear window, but once again, this vehicle is going to feature that 360 view camera, so it should be extremely easy to maneuver this vehicle in tight situations. And looking out the side, once again, visibility should be no problem. It really has tall windows inside of here. And sitting inside of the cabin definitely has a very open and airy feel, and that's mainly because of the overall tumble home inside of here. Now, the vehicle is going to have quite a bit of tumble home, which is pretty much right above your window, how much of the car does choose to cave in. It's going to cave in quite a bit, but not too much. I really like how Kia sort of caved it in just enough to give it more of that sporty and athletic feel to the overall interior. Right up here, you are going to have sort of like this suede and very plush feeling portion right here for your sun visors. You're going to have a mirror right there, and you close that right on up. You will also have an LED light up there. This vehicle is going to come with full LED lighting inside of the cabin since we have the SXL trim level. Coming over here, you will have your LED interior lighting, some more of those, and you will also have your panoramic sunroof inside here. So if I press this button, it is going to slide back that screen all the way there. It's also going to open up your sunroof there as well. And it's definitely going to let in lots of light. So now looking inside the cabin, I mean, just look at how bright it is inside of here. I really like how much light that lets into the cabin. It definitely makes this vehicle feel a lot larger than it actually is. So I really like the implementation of this panoramic sunroof inside of the Kia Sorento. So let's close that right on back up. And your screen will also come right back as well. Now your ceiling is actually going to have a very plush feel as well. Another area that has very good attention to detail. I really love the plush feel of this ceiling. Definitely has a very upscale, premium, and luxurious feel to it. It is going to once again sort of have like that same suede-like material. And you're also going to have your handles over here as well. All in all though, sitting inside of the cabin of the 2019 Kia Sorento, especially in this top of line SXL trim level, definitely screams that this vehicle is ready to compete head on with some luxury vehicles, honestly. So Kia is definitely giving you quite a bit of bang for your buck inside of this model. But now let's go over and look at the passenger side from the passenger seat. Alright, so now let's look at the passenger side inside of the 2019 Sorento. So let's open up the door here. Door panel design is going to have pretty much the exact same layout as what you found on the driver's side. Only difference is going to be you are going to have quite a bit less buttons here. You are going to have your windows up and down as well as your door locks. But let's hop on into the cabin here. Once again, very solid sounding door inside of the interior. Really love the sound of that door. Very solid thud to it. Now, looking at the overall dashboard here, I really like the overall dashboard design from the passenger side. You are going to have more of that soft to the touch injected molded plastic on the upper portion. Definitely would like to see Kia implement some type of leather dashboard accenting, or even pleather. Definitely would look extremely nice inside of this vehicle. But nevertheless, they are going to give you sort of like this imitation leather stitching on the upper portion of your dashboard. Below there, you are going to have some of that aluminum accenting, very similar to what's found over here around your AC vents. And you're also going to have some piano black accenting instead of there. One thing I really like about the Kia Sorento is how they don't go crazy with the overall piano black accenting. They splash it around the cabin, but they don't give you tons of it. The only area that I feel like it's a little bit too much is right over here at that cubby portion that I did show you earlier, and that is going to drag all the way down to the bottom portion here, I feel like this is going to get scratched up very easily and get lots of fingerprints on it, but at least Kia did not give you all of that piano black plastic all around your dashboard. They definitely kept with that very matte plastic around there, as well as around your gear selector and your cup holders. And one other thing I did want to mention is how Kia is going to give you this pretty soft padding right here. So it's going to be located on both your driver and your passenger side, so you can pretty much be resting your knee right there, and it's not going to be pretty much making your knee sore or numb after long road trips. So Kia definitely thought about all the comfort aspects inside of the Kia Sorento very diligently and appropriately. Now coming back over here to your dashboard, this is still going to be soft to the touch right here. It's not going to be a hard touch, so that's definitely a pretty neat feature on Kia's end. And you're also going to have an aluminum accented button here. This is going to be aluminum accented, not painted plastic. So if you press that, it is going to open up a pretty spacious glove box over here. So definitely pretty impressed with the overall size of this. It's not going to be extremely large. Definitely would like to see Kia implement a 2-tier storage compartment inside of here, especially since this is a family oriented vehicle. Definitely would like to see a slightly larger glove box inside of here, but it is going to be felt lined. It will also have a light inside of here that is going to be incandescent. It's not going to be an LED light inside of this glove box. That is going to be a little area of Kia showing cost cutting, but all in all, it is going to be damped, lined with felt, and will be lighted with an incandescent bulb. And you're also going to have a speaker right over there, as well as another speaker located up here on the upper portion of your dashboard. And one more aspect that I really love about the interior of the Kia Sorento, I actually have to move quite a bit up in the dashboard to show you guys this, but right here you are going to have this cutout that is going to run all the way through, and you can actually put your hand inside of there and run it all the way down over there. So it's definitely going to give the dashboard more of a three-dimensional type of look, which definitely makes this vehicle once again feel a little bit more upscale and premium. And it's actually going to have that glossy piano black running all the way inside of there. You can't even really see the glossy black, but the fact that Kia even implemented it definitely shows their attention to detail. All in all though, sitting inside of the passenger seat definitely exudes the exact same premium and upscale nature that sitting in the driver's seat exudes. Alright, so now let's talk about the comfort in the second row seats inside of the Kia Sorento. So sitting in the back seats here, they definitely feel extremely comfortable, very similar texturing to what's found on the front seats. Actually the exact same texturing. They're still going to have that Napa leather feel here, very smooth and silky soft feel. Really love the feel of these seats. They are still going to be perforated, but they're not going to be ventilated like your front seats, but they will have heated seats, but they are going to be 2-stage heated seats, one less stage than what you find on your front seats. All in all though, these seats definitely feel extremely comfortable and very plush. Now your side bolstering is not going to be as prominent as what you found on the front seats, both for your thighs as well as your torso, but your torso is actually going to be relatively prominent for a back seat. Actually quite impressed as to how prominent this bolstering is back here. You can move these seats up actually a total of 6 inches forward, but it is going to have tons of different notches throughout, so you can't just lock it here, lock it here, lock it here. You can lock it at tons of different places to really help those rear seat passengers out with overall legroom. But let's move this all the way up in its tracks, total of 6 inches forward, and this is with the seat all the way up that full 6 inches. My knees are going to be touching the back of the seats. I have this front seat adjusted to my comfort. My knees are going to be hitting the back of the seats, but at least Kia is going to give you sort of like this leather padding here, which is definitely going to help with that. And once again, when you are sitting inside of these seats, they definitely feel extremely upscale and premium. One other thing I did want to mention is how you can also adjust this backrest here as well to square off the back of your area. And when you do have those third rows of seats folded down, you can square off your cargo area by just pulling this lever down here, and you can move up this seat and lock it right into place. Now, obviously this is not going to be a very comfortable way to sit inside of the Kia Sorento, but sitting back here, it can technically be done. I just would not recommend it at all, especially if you are of my height. But if I move this seat all the way back in its tracks, that's as far back as it can go, and you can also recline this all the way back as well. That's as far back as it'll recline, and I mean, you can just relax fully back here with no problem whatsoever. And legroom is actually pretty accommodating here. I can put my foot on top right there and have no problem sitting back here at all. So I'm definitely quite impressed with the overall spaciousness inside of the back seats, at least in the second row of the 2019 Kia Sorento. And as far as headroom goes, you are going to have 39.3 inches of headroom and just about 39.4 inches of legroom, which is going to be in line with most 3-row SUVs that are going to be in that mid-size segment. All right, so now let's hop on into the back seats here. So let's open up the door. And your door panel design back here is actually going to be very similar to what's found on the front 2 seats, which is definitely an upside. You are still going to have that soft to the touch injected molded plastic portion up here. You also have a sun shade right here where you can just lock it right into place up there, which is also a pretty neat feature. And coming below there, you also have your piano black accenting right there. And that is going to be encompassing your aluminum accented door handle with your aluminum door lock. You also have more of that terracotta clay insert on the lower portion right there, as well as more of your Napa leather armrest right here with a very solid and sturdy door handle right there to close it with. Right up here, you are going to have 2-stage heated seat control buttons right there, as well as your auto up and auto down button for your rear seats. Now coming below there, you are going to have another speaker to your Harman Kardon premium audio system, and over here this is all going to be hard to the touch plastics. You will have a single bottle holder down there, as well as a little cubby to store a few knickknacks inside of. All in all though, I'm quite impressed by how Kia did pretty much maintain the overall quality, material quality that the front seat doors have in the rear seats. So your rear seat passengers are definitely not going to be disappointed with the overall material quality. And down here, you're also going to have an aluminum accented kick plate down there that is going to say Sorento, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. So let's hop on into the second row of seats here. Don't have to duck your head at all. You just get right inside of the cabin because this overall door is going to be cut out quite large right there, extremely perfect for tall people getting inside of the back seat. But let's close up the door. Very solid sound. I just love how solid these doors sound. They definitely feel almost tank-like in a way. I really love the overall quality of the door closing. But looking at the seats here, you are going to get sort of like this Napa leather running over onto the backs of the seats, definitely making the back seats have a lot more of a lavish and upscale look. You're also going to have some piano black accenting right here, as well as some aluminum accenting there as well. And coming all the way up here, one thing I'm really noticing is how large this panoramic sunroof is inside of here. Definitely is going to make the cabin feel extremely open and airy, and pretty much feel a lot larger than the cabin actually is. I really like that panoramic sunroof. Now coming back down here, you are going to have hard to the touch plastic right here, but below there you are going to have a leather matte pocket right there, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. Now sitting behind myself at 5'11", I have the seat adjusted to my comfort, sitting in the driver's seat, and I can fit my knuckle right in front of my knee, so that's definitely a pretty neat feature. Actually a little bit more than my knuckle, a little bit past my wrist, so pretty accommodating leg room right there. And you're also going to get a pretty decent amount of foot space down there, not too much foot space. I have this front seat adjusted all the way up as high as it can go, and I don't really have too much foot space under there. My foot is hitting something hard right now, so it's definitely a little bit disturbing. Definitely feels like some type of electronics or wires that I'm kicking around, so that's definitely a little bit of an oversight. I feel like on Kia's end, definitely would like to see them alter that in future model years. Nevertheless, coming over here, you are going to have AC vents, which is definitely a pretty neat feature to see in your back seats, but pretty much what you would expect in a 3-row crossover, and is going to have that silver painted plastic outline right there. Coming below there, you are going to have a USB charging port right there, as well as a 12-volt power outlet. And right here, you are going to have a household power outlet. I have my camera charging in here right now. It is going to be a household power outlet right there. That is going to be an AC 115 volt max 150 watts. So that's definitely a pretty neat feature that Kia did put that inside of this vehicle. Now down here, you're not really going to have too large of a hump. Actually, you're not going to have a hump at all. It's just going to be a flat transition all the way across. So you can definitely sit 3 people across with no problem whatsoever. You're not going to be fighting for foot space, which is definitely a pretty neat thing. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this seat is going to be able to move up a total of 6 inches. So if I move this seat all the way up, you're going to see that just how much range of motion you can actually move these rear seats. So it is going to be extremely accommodating for whoever will be sitting in these back seats. But let's move on into the center here. And sitting in the center seats, It is going to be relatively plush, not as plush as the outboard seats, unfortunately. If you are sitting in the center seat, I would sort of feel a little bit bad for you because it's not going to be the most comfortable area to sit inside of the Kia Sorento. So right here, you're going to have pretty plush seat bottom cushion, but the area that I'm not going to be a huge fan of is the overall backrest. The backrest is actually going to be extremely firm inside of here, unfortunately, but you can open this up and you are going to have two cup holders here as well as a little mini cup holder portion right there. Definitely a pretty neat feature, and you're also going to have an adjustable headrest right there as well, which is also a pretty neat feature. Your seat belts are going to be black inside of here. Definitely would have liked to have seen them color match it with the overall interior, but once again, that's sort of nitpicking. This is not a luxury automobile. And sitting all the way in the farthest seat right here, I have this seat adjusted a little bit farther back in its tracks and a little bit closer to the floor. You can see that I just barely have enough space to put my feet inside of there. And as far as headroom goes, I'm going to show you headroom right now. So let me turn the camera around for you guys. And right above my head, I actually have quite a bit of space. If you are looking at the overall sunroof portion, I mean, look at all this headroom that I have. Headroom is not a problem inside of this vehicle. Even if I were to be all the way over here, I still have quite a bit of headroom without the sunroof in the picture. So that's definitely a pretty neat feature. I'm going to sit in the middle row really quick for you guys and show you how much headroom I have right there. So sitting inside of the middle row, you're also going to have quite a bit of headroom here as well, which is actually pretty impressive. So look at all of this headroom, and that's because we have this very accommodating sunroof. I really like how the sunroof is really going to accentuate the overall headroom and pretty much what your mind perceives as being a lots of space. So this cabin is definitely going to assume to be very spacious and actually be pretty spacious in person. So all in all, I'm quite impressed with these back seats. Alright, so now let's climb into the third row of seats. So to climb into the third row of seats, all you have to do is come over here and pull the little lever that is going to be located up here on your outboard seat. You pull this out, your seat will fold forward a little bit, then you just put your hand right back here and push the seat forward the rest of the way. Now this latch portion is actually only going to be on your passenger side, unfortunately. Your driver's side is not going to have this little compartment portion that you can lift up and slide your seat. So it's best to access the third row of seats from the right side of the vehicle. But let's hop on into the back seat now that we have this little pass-through portion open for us. All right, so now let me hop on into the third row of seats here. And you definitely have to throw yourself back here, but once you get back here, it's actually quite relieving. And sitting inside of these seats, they actually are not going to be as uncomfortable as I was expecting them to be. They're actually still going to be Napa leather back here, which is definitely a pretty neat feature. They're not going to have any type of adjustability or anything like that. You can't move them forward or backwards or adjust your backrest, but it's actually going to be relatively spacious and cavernous back here. I was especially expecting it to be extremely cramped, but it's actually quite accommodating. Now you can only seat 2 people wide back here. You're not going to be able to seat 3 people wide like some of its competitors, but all in all, that's pretty much what you would expect, especially considering the overall slightly smaller dimensions of the Sorento in comparison to its competitors. But let's move all the way over here to the farthest seat, pretty much how you would be sitting if you were sitting in the third row. And my feet do have to sort of fight each other a little bit to get into the proper position. But once my feet do get in the proper position and I put my feet underneath the seats, actually there's surprisingly quite a bit of space under there, so I can slide my feet right under there with no problem. And I actually have a pretty decent amount of knee room back here as well, or leg room rather. I'm going to have just about an 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of legroom, so that's definitely pretty impressive. Definitely was not expecting that much legroom to be back here. And as far as headroom goes, it's actually quite accommodating as well. Probably have just about 2.5 to maybe even 3 inches of headroom up there as well, which is actually not too bad at all. Now, one thing that is also going to make this third row of seats feel a little bit more spacious as well as the overall lots of windows happening around here. You're going to have that large panoramic sunroof as well as these side mirrors located around here, and you're very close to your rear window as well, so it doesn't feel as cramped as I was expecting it to feel either. But when you are sitting in here, I mean, there's very little support to the overall seats. You're not really going to have any bolstering at all, and you are going to have a little bit of bottom thigh bolstering, but I mean, you can't even feel it anyways because my knees are all the way up in the air. My thighs are not even touching the bottom of the seat. The only portion of my body that are actually touching these seats are the very back of my butt and the entirety of my back. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. This back seat will definitely be reserved for extremely short adults or children, most specifically, because I mean, this back seat is not going to be the most accommodating at all. But as far as headroom goes, this vehicle is going to feature 36.3 inches of headroom in this third row, which is going to be just about 3 inches less than what's found in that second row of seats. And as far as legroom goes, you're going to be looking at 31.7 inches, which is going to be just about 7.5 inches less than what's found on those second row of seats. Surprisingly enough, this is actually going to be still in line with some of its mid-size three-row crossover SUVs, which is actually quite impressive. So I guess the overall space back here is what you should expect in most of its competitors all in all. Therefore, if you want the most space in your third row of seats, I definitely recommend you consider something like a minivan if third row comfort is extremely important to you. Actually, the Kia Sedona is going to offer 2.5 inches more headroom above your head, as well as just about 3 inches more legroom. So those little differences should offer a lot more accommodations for your third row. But it is important to keep in mind that some of its competitors are going to offer captain's chairs for second row passengers, while other competitors will even offer up to 8 seats. So like I mentioned earlier, this vehicle is only going to have 2 wide seats back here. You cannot have 3 people sitting back here legally because there are only going to be 2 seats with 2 seat belts. And if you are sitting in that second row of seats, you are going to have 3 seats across, while some of its competitors will offer 2 seats across with a center pass-through area for easier access of getting into the third row. But here, Kia is going to give you that little pull handle that I just demonstrated for you. You slide up that seat, and then you have to fit in between this little portion between your door cutout and the back of your seat. All in all though, sitting back here is going to be relatively accommodating, but most people that buy the Sorento will probably have this third row folded down or reserve this third row for kids. Alright, but sitting inside of the third row, I did want to show you it in a little bit more detail. So right over here, you are going to have your rear AC vents right here, so you can just turn it all the way up or lower it all the way down. Actually a pretty strong AC back here, surprisingly. So technically the Kia Sorento is going to feature a tri-zone AC because you are going to have this zone back here as well as 2 zones up front. So that's definitely a pretty neat feature that Kia is going to offer that, and you can just turn that off by pressing right there. Over here you are going to have a bottle holder as well as a pretty neat cubby right there, so you can just put your phone right inside of there. This is a Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. It is going to fit in there with no problem whatsoever. And you're also going to have some of this pretty neat lining right here. It's actually going to be a carryover from your cargo area, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. But it's actually going to have a pretty soft feel to it. I really like how this is going to be here, so your legs are not touching hard plastic. You're actually going to be touching this relatively soft woolen felt material right there. You're also going to have a tie down hook right back here as well from your cargo area. Moving over here to this side, you're also going to have another cubby right there that my Samsung Galaxy S7 can also fit inside of. It's actually going to be a little bit smaller than what's found on the right side, and over here you're going to have another cup holder. Now sitting behind the third row, I have this seat back in its tracks as far as it can go, and you can actually sit back here with quite a bit of space. I actually have maybe about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of legroom right there, which is pretty good. And as far as foot space goes, you don't really have too much foot space. You're going to have a little latch right there, so my foot can't go there. It'll have to go around and slide right in there. And if there's another rear seat passenger sitting there, we are going to have to be sharing this little space with our foot. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. And as you can see, my bottom of my thighs are not even anywhere near the bottom of the seats. But technically, this rear seat should be, once again, like I said earlier, reserved for children or very short adults. But now let's check out the cargo area and see pretty much how much space is left after Kia has added this relatively accommodating third row of seats. Alright, so now let's look at the cargo area inside of the Sorento. So let's open up the trunk by holding down right here. It will flash your hazards, play a little chime, and the trunk will open up through a power assistance feature. So right behind your rear seats, you are going to be looking at 11.3 cubic feet of space, and pretty much when this trunk opens, you are going to be greeted with the back of your third row of seats. You're not really going to have too much space here whatsoever. You're going to have a little portion right here that you can open up. You will have a little cubby right there that you can store things inside of, as well as your jack kit. Your spare tire is going to be located underneath the vehicle. But to fold down this third row of seats, if 11.3 cubic feet of space is not enough for you, you can just pull this little latch right here, and it's going to be velcroed onto the seat back. You pull that back, you pull it once, your headrest will go folding down, and if you pull it again and you push your seat forward, it's best if you have two hands, but you can do it with one hand, and you just fold down your seat right there. It is going to be a flat transition from your cargo load floor to your rear seat back. And let's also do that over here on this side. So with those third row of seats folded down, your cargo area is going to expand to a pretty respectable 38 cubic feet of space, a solid 38 cubic feet of space. And you are going to notice that you are also going to be able to see your rear cup holders back here, as well as a few other things that are going to be more for your rear seat passengers, but they are going to be inside of your cargo area, since this vehicle is going to be that third row model, which all models for 2019 are going to be 3 rows. Now, if you want to fold down that second row of seats, you're actually going to have to come over here and just pull this lever out, and that whole portion is going to fold down. I did want to test that out. I have that front driver's seat adjusted to my comfort at 5'11", and this side, the 60 side, cannot fold down by itself, unfortunately. But if we come over here, I do have that front seat a lot farther up on the passenger side, so let's fold this one down here. It is going to fold down with no problem, pretty much what I expected. But thankfully, yes, I'm so happy, there is going to be a flat transition from your cargo load floor to your rear seat back to your other rear seat back. So that's definitely pretty impressive right there on Kia's end. And once you fold down all rows of seats inside of the Kia Sorento, you are going to be looking at a maximum cargo capacity of 73 cubic feet of space. Now, since there is going to be less rear overhang due to the length of this vehicle is going to be quite a bit shorter than most of its competitors, as a result, the cargo area volume behind the third row is going to be taking quite a bit of a hit, as we saw earlier. But luckily, Kia is going to translate that smaller cargo area behind the third row of seats to give you pretty much class competitive third row seating accommodations, believe it or not. But let's close up the cargo area and talk about the rest of the Sorento. Now, as far as safety goes for the 2019 Kia Sorento, it did receive top safety ratings from both the IIHS and the NHTSA. The Kia Sorento did receive a Top Safety Pick Plus award from the IIHS, as well as a 5-star rating from the NHTSA, or the federal government. But the 2019 Sorento did get a poor rating for the headlight performance if you option for the non-LED offering. So pretty much those halogen projector beam headlights on the majority of 2019 Sorentos being on your L, LX, EX, and your SX trim levels. If you step up to the SX with that touring package, or the SX-Limited like I have right here, you are going to get good rated headlights by the IIHS that are going to feature curve adaptability as well as high beam assist. The Sorento also earned a superior rating in the frontal crash avoidance and mitigation test from the IIHS. So as far as safety tech goes, it is pretty much going to be listed out like this. So if you go for that base L trim level, that will only feature a reverse camera, which is really quite disheartening. I really thought Kia was going to offer a lot more safety tech on that base L model. But then again, you have to keep in mind that Kia is pretty much giving you a bargain when you think about it, because not much 3-row crossovers are going to be priced that low. But nevertheless, if you step up to the LX trim level, that is going to add blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, as well as rear parking sensors. If you go for the EX and above trim levels, they will all come standard with Kia's suite of active safety technology. So it is going to consist of smart cruise control with stop and go, forward collision avoidance with pedestrian detection, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, and driver attention warning. And one thing that I found actually extremely interesting is I was actually analyzing Kia's website, looking at overall packaging and stuff like that, and the changes made over 2018 to 2019 model year. And I found out that the cheapest way you could get Kia's suite of active safety systems was for just about $33,000 if you optioned for the 4-cylinder LX with the available advanced technology package, and that was for the 2018 model. Now for 2019, the cheapest way you can get Kia's suite of safety technologies, their active safety technologies, will be for just about $36,500, which is a $3,500 increase over last year's model. Also, it is important to keep in mind that for 2019, Kia's suite of active safety technology is only going to be available on V6 powered Sorentos, while last year you could get Kia's suite of active safety systems on the 4-cylinder powered Sorentos. So that's definitely going to be a little bit disheartening, and I definitely would like to see Kia fix that for the 2020 model year. And as far as airbags go inside of the Kia Sorento, you are not going to have many airbags at all. You're actually only going to have 6 airbags. Kia does not offer a driver's knee airbag, unfortunately, nor are you going to get torso airbags for your rear seat passengers in either your second or your third row. And I believe some of its competitors are going to offer that, so definitely look at the overall options list and pretty much see which vehicles will offer extra airbags, because the Kia Sorento is only going to offer a mediocre 6 standard airbags. All in all, the newly refreshed 2019 Kia Sorento proves to be a very solid entry in the 3-row crossover SUV segment, as long as you could come to terms with Kia making the executive decision to drop the availability of their 2-liter turbocharged engine, as well as Kia deciding to no longer offer a 2-row 5-passenger variant for the Sorento lineup. Even though the Sorento is more of an in-betweener type of SUV, having somewhat trouble fitting into a particular segment, Kia has proved that they are capable of making a family SUV that can check all the boxes that most consumers need, while still offering attractive looks, convenient features, and affordable pricing that most consumers want. But I want to know your opinion. Do you think the Kia Sorento has what it takes to strongly compete in the 3-row crossover SUV segment? Comment down below saying yes, the Sorento has what it takes, or no, the Sorento doesn't have what it takes. I definitely want to hear your opinion, so don't hesitate to comment down below. Well, that's it for this full review. Comment and tell me what you would like to see in future videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This is Marcus, and thanks for watching Drive and Be Driven. Keep it positive, and I'll see you next time. You can become a Drive and Be Driven driver today. Just simply click the subscribe button, and you will become a part of the Drive and Be Driven circle. Subscribing will allow you to stay up to date with the Drive and Be Driven YouTube channel. Thank you to all of my current Drive and Be Driven drivers for driving me towards my goals and dreams. Stay subscribed for more awesome videos like this one.